Hi everybody and welcome to Husky Talk. On this edition we are joined by the UConn Recreation Director Cyndi Costanzo. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks so much for coming. Welcome.
So first and foremost, almost 4 years ago this new facility was introduced and announced that it would be in this exact spot. How exciting is it that it's finally here, that students are finally using it?
It's amazing. It is absolutely as beautiful as we intended it to be. And it's just been such a great process going from what we saw on paper and what we wanted this to be and what we dreamed for it to be, and then actually walking around the building and seeing 7,000 people walk in last Monday to use the building. So
Now, can you tell me about some of the special zones that are in it? There's 4 different fitness zones, a number of different athletic courts, a pool. Walk me through some of that.
Well, what we did is we did a lot of benchmarking against other institutions and what types of facilities they had. And really it becomes like building blocks. You know, how much space do you need and where do you need it and how do you divide that space throughout the footprint that you have. So your note is that we have 4 fitness zones. They're scattered throughout the first and the second floor. We have 5 group fitness studios. And as you remember, in our old facility, we had 1 studio. So we're really excited with not only the quantity, but the quality of those studios. Up on the first floor, we also have our aquatic center, which is 2 pools, and we have our awesome climbing center, which is marked as the tallest climbing center in New England. So we're very, very proud of that. Then when you move up to the second floor, that is fitness studios and group fitness. Third floor are all of our big box spaces. So that would be 6 gymnasiums plus 3 racquetball courts. And then the entire facility is topped off with a 1/6 track, which is technically what we would call our 4th floor. So that's kind of how it spreads out in this footprint.
Now on that 3rd floor there's the MAC courts, which are next to the wooden basketball courts. What was the decision behind installing them as like a multi-purpose court instead of say an indoor turf field or something like that?
It's really about 2 things. It's really about versatility. So when you build a center like this, you want to think about when are most of your users going to be in it. And for all of you, you're here between September and May. And as we all know as New Englanders, there's a lot of time that we're driving you indoors because it's too cold and it's raining or snowy or everything else it is. And that was a lot of the thinking that went behind both the gymnasiums as well as the track. So that MAC court, you're going to be able to play indoor soccer. You'll also be able to get standard games such as volleyball, basketball. So we really could operate a 6-court basketball tournament in that space right now. And it's really fantastic, and it's also why we put them together. But you're going to be able to play futsal in there, play badminton. The sky's the limit what you'll be able to do in that space. And so that's why we opted for 2 of the courts to be that multi-purpose synthetic surface.
Now in the design phase, how did the phrase "for students, by students" fit in?
Well, from the very beginning, it was the students that went to the Board of Trustees and asked for this facility. So I had been working with students for 2 full years prior to the approval of the Board of Trustees to actually begin the construction. So I think that's where the students first had the impact. But what we did during what we call pre-design, we held these design charrettes, and these were 3 separate occasions in which students and other members of the community were invited to come. They spent 3 full days with us looking at design a facility, content of what would be in that facility, layout, what they thought would work. We asked students as simple questions as, what don't you have that you would like to have? What do you see in the future that you'll need? And that process was really very much influenced the ultimate design and the layout of this facility in so many ways.
Now that you're open, do you think that there's going to be any changes down the line?
I don't think physical changes. I think we got this right. I think that we built this facility large enough that we can continue to grow as a community. To my point last week when we had 7,000 users, we had never had more, I would say just over 3,000 users in the old building, and that really stressed our resources. We were able to manage 7,000 people in the building. There were still empty spaces on the cardiovascular equipment, and at that, we had not started intramurals, group fitness, or club sports. So that says a lot about our capacity to grow. What I do think we should look at when you're looking into the future is I think we need to look at our outdoor facilities and continue to improve those, expand those facilities, and have more dedicated outdoor field space. Also, perhaps expanding how bikes move throughout this campus, et cetera. And these are all projects that we'll be able to be involved with moving forward.
Right, so taking it more from this facility as a building and bringing it to impacts across the community. And community is a word that's come up a lot in the construction phases and in the opening weeks. How much does this mean for the UConn community?
I think it's transformative to the community. It's really interesting. If you look at any of these centers across the country, and again, I reference benchmarking, we looked at many institutions across the country have built similar facilities. Not as nice as ours, of course, but similar. And what we find that it really changes the campus climate. We're seeing more students that typically don't use our facilities come to this facility. And that has a lot to do with design and inclusion. But I think we can have an impact on the community of our faculty and staff. And we talk all the time about being a UConn community, one UConn. One UConn means all of us, faculty, staff, students, because that's what makes up our community. And what better place to bring people together in a space such as recreation? It's a non-competitive environment. It's a space where people can be the best that they want to be. It's a space where people can challenge themselves to do things they've never done before. And so that's really exciting to us. And what's interesting is this community is a very active community, referencing back what I said about facilities outside of this actual building. And that's another way that you can build community with outdoor programs, road races. I could go on with the number of potential programs that we can now bring to this campus because we have the resources that we do. So it's exciting.
You touched on the word inclusion. When you were designing this, what was the mindset behind making it an inclusive space, not only for people with physical disabilities, but for people maybe with mental health challenges? How is this space going to be helpful for people with all differing abilities?
This, first and foremost, this should be a space for everyone. This should be a space where you feel welcome from the point at which you walk in the door. And then how you use the equipment, how you engage in our programming should only make you as every individual feel more welcome. Later on when you tour the facility, perhaps we can point out many of those very intentional design elements of this building that we believe will make this facility inclusive. But just to start from again, when you walk in the door, this is the design is an open layout. So what immediately it says to people coming in is you can see what spaces are in front of you, where you go. And if you're new to this community, you should feel this space is for me. So if you feel that way when you walk in the door, imagine how you feel as you move through the facility. It's easy to find the services and the programs that you want. That all just lessens that anxiety of walking in the door. I'll answer your other question. You really are talking about how do we address all of the many needs of the people in our community. And I think the simple word is through partnerships. We don't have all the answers. By the university entrusting this immense resource to us, we felt it's our responsibility then to reach out to various partnerships, counseling and mental health services, student health and well-being. These are just two of the many partnerships that we have started to create and say, this may be our facility that we're entrusted to operate, but how can we come together with programs that make sense for both of our departments to offer, and thereby.
Now, expanding your reach, who is able to use this facility on top of the students here and on top of the multiple different organizations and partnerships that were obviously consciously chosen to be a part of this facility? Are alumni able to use it? Are faculty? Who else is able to use it than just students?
What we did with our facility, and you can do this many different ways, and you'll see facilities operated that they may include children. Many facilities do that. We decided not to do this. We started with our base. Our base community is our student population. And that's who the building was essentially built for and built by. You're the fee-paying students. But what we also decided is without compromising how the students or when the students are able to use the building, we could offer fee-based memberships to faculty and staff, alumni, military, seniors, and then the general, I would say, greater UConn community, stores, etc. By doing so, the revenue that can be generated from that can then be reinvested right into our operating budget. Dollar for dollar, every single dollar goes back into the program. So we see those memberships having, and the revenue that will generate, really having a twofold benefit. It physically brings together all members of our community to exercise and use these great facilities without compromising what the students need. But it also provides us very real pool of money that can be then invested back in our programs to expand. That's my point about outside facilities. Perhaps we look at additional fields, expanding our bike fleet, any number of services that could be then reinvested that don't need to necessarily then, the outcome of that is not a direct increase to any expenses to the students.
And 4 years ago, it was announced that when the facility opened is when the student fee would begin to apply. Now, the student fee from us students is a lot. It's $500 a year. It's an extra 100 or so to use certain lockers. How are these fees designed, implemented? Like, what was the decision process behind that? Because as students, it's a lot to say, okay, we have a new gym, but it's costing us $500 a year.
We like two things. First of all, it's a recreation center, and so there was a comment someone had made in the paper the other day about comparing the actual cost of this facility versus perhaps one of the commercial facilities that might be in the local community. And the first and foremost thing to say is that this is a very different facility. It's a comprehensive facility. We see this as part of your wellness plan, your overall health. And again, our facility is far more than a fitness center. So how are the fees designed? For us, philosophically, what we believe is for your $250 per semester, you should be able to access all of the services. Lockers available to you, all group fitness classes available to you. We have a couple premium services that might be an additional cost, such as personal training. But we believe that you should be able to fully use this facility and all of our programs, outdoors, intramurals, club sports, etc., for that fee that you've been charged. And I distinctly make a point of that is because if you do some comparative comparisons across the country at other facilities, some may charge you less up front. Oftentimes what they then would do is charge you for classes or a number of individual additional expenses. So we just decided to do it as an all-inclusive.
What are some of the special programs and events that this recreation center offers that a traditional, Boston Sports Club, YMCA wouldn't offer?
I think first and foremost is one of the mainstays of recreation, and that's intramurals. I think we have one of the most comprehensive intramurals programs in the country. And historically, we had extensive wait lists to participate in our intramural programs. And we really hope that won't be anymore. So this is about meeting need, meeting interest. Secondarily, our outdoor recreation program, including our climbing center, I will rival that against any program in this country. It is an amazing program in which students have the opportunity to try something that they've never done before, push their own limits. And whether that's one of our week-long programs, camping and hiking, or one of our half-day programs like stand-up paddleboarding or kayaking, these are great programs, and again, programs that students have never been able to try before, or it might be very difficult for them to engage outside of a standard fitness center. Then again, the other thing is our group fitness classes. We'll be offering up to 140 hours a week of group fitness classes. That's amazing, amazing number of offerings, and all taught by our certified, qualified students of all three of those programs.
You talked about being taught by certified, qualified students. What other jobs are there for students, or what other opportunities for professional growth, professional development are there for students in a major like sports management or sports business, or anything that might play out down the line in careers?
When you look at most collegiate recreation centers, most of them by and large are run by students. We're no different. We employ 400 students a year. We're the second largest employer on campus. So very much we are part of the economic engine of the institution. And the jobs that we provide students are jobs that they need to have. And we need to have the students that work with us. We're very reliant on our students, and we have very good qualified students that work for us. In terms of the professional opportunities, I would say that any job that a student has with us provides them professional opportunities and learning lessons. And whether that's our officials who officiate our intramural program, time and time again, our officials have come back to us, and whatever career they've gone to work in, they come back and report what they learned in terms of conflict resolution, managing schedule, leadership skills. They've all then applied to their, quote, real world position. But very directly, we also hire students to work in our marketing department, whether they're graphic design students, marketing, etc. They help us run that program. They develop a comprehensive portfolio and leave with that portfolio, which has really been a significant growth program for us. are group fitness instructors. Oftentimes these are kinesiology, exercise science majors, or other related fields. And then we're on the cusp of developing a personal training program in which we'll partner directly with kinesiology and hope to provide, I would say, a true experiential learning opportunity for these budding professionals in the field.
So when a student walks in here for the first time, for the 100th time, it's not like the experience that they're getting when they walk in is going to be the end of their experience with the UConn Recreation Center.
It shouldn't be. There's so much to learn and so many challenges ahead of students, and we hope that we advertise and market those programs well, but we equally hope that the students will come here and say, how can I challenge myself more? What else can I do here? And what else can I learn that this great center has to offer for me?
Absolutely. All right, well, thank you for that. My last question for you is, what's your favorite spot in this new facility?
There's so many, but I would say the Mind Body Studio and the Climbing Center.
All right.
And I'll take you to both if you'd like.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Cyndi, for joining us. This was Husky Talk on UCTV Sports. I'm Noam Watt.